I think that's why I'm so excited, is because I have been blessed to see what it looks like under the goat. And now you're going to the baby goat who's been, all the eyes are on her all around the world. And so it's just kind of a cool experience for everybody.
In her most recent interview since joining the Fever, Sophie Cunningham didn't hold back, saying, "She's changed our game in the best possible way." While critics and doubters continue to downplay Caitlin Clark's impact, Cunningham's candid endorsement carries serious weight, coming from a seasoned veteran who's seen the league evolve firsthand. Her words aren't just hype, they're a credible first-hand validation of just how transformative Clark's presence already is.
I am joined by Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham. And I just said Indiana Fever, Sophie Cunningham. You have been with the Phoenix Mercury for 6 years, now heading over to Indiana for the 2025 season. What does that feel like? How has that transition been?
In her most recent interview since joining the Fever, Sophie Cunningham didn't hold back, saying, "She's changed our game in the best possible way." While critics and doubters continue to downplay Caitlin Clark's impact, Cunningham's candid endorsement carries serious weight, coming from a seasoned veteran who's seen the league evolve firsthand. Her words aren't just hype, they're a credible first-hand validation of just how transformative Clark's presence already is.
You know, it is so funny that you even said that, because I'm so excited, but I'm still not used to it, just because I've been drafted out here. I've been here for 6 years. And so a couple weeks ago, I threw on the Indiana jersey for the first time, and everyone's saying I'm a Fever. And so I'm like, oh, I gotta get used to the new me, which I love. I'm so excited for. I think it's just such a great opportunity. I'm excited to play with the players that are there, play under the coaching staff that's there. And so I think this is just a new and exciting era for me. And everyone that I kind of partner with.
But perhaps the most revealing quote came during her New York Post interview. "I've been that feisty player my entire career." Sophie Cunningham isn't just coming to Indiana to hit threes. She's stepping in as the enforcer this young team has been missing, with Caitlin Clark already drawing intense physical defense from day one. Having someone like Cunningham, who's unafraid to push back, could shift the entire dynamic. Want to hear more about what Sophie just said? Drop Sophie plus CC in the comments, and let's break it down together.
Yeah, I think Indy, those my year 1 through 3.5. Well, let me just say this. I went through my 7 years in Indy. I've had 4 head coaches. So that within itself was kind of like, no one really knows what an experience of like the black stick at the bottom. Trust me, I've been there. Trust me. So I was, that's really how it started,
Consider the implications for a franchise at rock bottom. The Fever weren't just piling up losses. They were fading into the background of a league that already fights for attention. Their decline was so stark, so undeniable, that a total roster overhaul wasn't just a smart move. It became a matter of survival. Without bold changes, the franchise risked becoming an afterthought in the evolving landscape of the WNBA.
When y'all left, it was still a rebuild stage. So different coaches got hired. And I think that at that point, we was trying to figure out whether I was keep swimming or if I would sink individually. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what would happen in my career. I didn't know how it would turn out, because the points were the points, the accolades were accolades, but it wasn't enough.
That team winning. Team, not individual, team.
Yeah. And anybody that wanted to compete and be a winner,
it's about team.
Then came the 2024 draft. And just like that, the Fever went from overlooked to the center of the WNBA spotlight. With the number 1 pick, they selected Caitlin Clark, perhaps the most hyped rookie the league has ever seen. But with that wave of attention came a surge of pressure. Suddenly, every detail, from lineup choices to post-game interviews, was under intense scrutiny. The noise wasn't limited to social media either. Respected analysts voiced real concerns. They saw a generational talent walking into a roster still under construction and asked the tough questions. Would Clark's game hold up against pro-level competition? And could this youthful Fever squad realistically challenge the league's heavyweights?
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
The Fever's shortcomings were glaring as the 2024 season got underway. They lacked toughness. Their shooting came and went. And most glaringly, there was no veteran presence to set the tone when games turned physical. The raw talent was there, but the cohesion wasn't, and it showed. The team often looked disconnected, struggling to find rhythm and identity. Caitlin Clark, in particular, bore the brunt of it all, constantly targeted by physical defenses eager to test the rookie's resilience. It quickly became evident talent alone wouldn't cut it. The Fever needed more than potential. They needed battle-tested veterans who understood what it takes to win in this league and who could shoulder the pressure that comes with having a once-in-a-generation player like Clark in the spotlight.
Are you in a position where you can add some pieces?
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position. And I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her.
In response, Fever management didn't just make moves. They made a statement. They went all in, assembling a buffet of veteran talent in what might be remembered as one of the sharpest rebuilds in recent WNBA history. But this wasn't about stacking the roster with just any veterans. It was about targeting the right ones. Sophie Cunningham brought grit and attitude, while the additions of Dawana Bonner, Sydney Colson, and Natasha Howard signaled something far more intentional. These were champions, players who had been through the fire, who knew the pressure of big moments, and who could mentor the young core, especially Caitlin Clark, on what it truly takes to win in this league.
It's a wonderful fresh start for you. But before we look ahead, I kind of want to look back on your experience in Phoenix. Like you said, you were drafted there. You spent the last 6 seasons with the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, who just announced her retirement. What have you learned from her?
Oh man, I think we could sit here for days if we really went into that. But at the end of the day, I think that Dee is one of the best humans I've ever met. She has one of the best hearts. The way she not only thinks about life, but the game is just on a whole nother level.
While the Fever front office was quietly pulling strings behind the scenes, no one could have predicted that Sophie Cunningham would steal the spotlight during her media tour. Of all the veteran additions, none arrived with more volume or more swagger than Cunningham. While most vets choose their words carefully when it comes to hyped rookies, avoiding the risk of putting too much on their shoulders, Sophie took the opposite approach. Her praise was bold, raw, and completely unfiltered, and it shook the basketball world. Her comments didn't just make noise. They lit a fire, signaling that this new-look Fever squad wasn't here to play it safe. They were coming in hot.
But you went from playing with a true legend of the game to now a rising legend of the game in Caitlin Clark in Indiana. What is it about her? What have you observed about Caitlin Clark now that you're going to be one of her teammates?
After a roller coaster run in Phoenix, Sophie Cunningham made it clear in a candid New York Post interview. She was built for this moment. Calling her move to Indiana a turning point, she said, "I believe it has prepared me for something bigger and better." Her words landed like a rallying cry, not just for herself, but for the entire franchise. With unmistakable conviction, she emphasized the magnitude of what's ahead. "Look at the stage we're about to be on, and the players I'm about to be with. For Cunningham, this isn't just a new chapter. It's the one she's been waiting for."
It was exactly what Cunningham needed after she got, quote, too comfortable across 6 seasons in Phoenix. Now she tells the New York Post that she's equipped to thrive in the spotlight while playing alongside Fever superstar Caitlin Clark. Quote, I think that since I've been out here in Phoenix, it hasn't always been easy, Cunningham, 28, said while discussing a partnership with Quest Nutrition. There have been a lot of trials. There's been a lot of lessons learned, a lot of experiences that I thought was just like any WNBA team. But I think it's built me. It's made me tougher. It's tested my persistence and my mental quite a bit.